Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Combat Corner, powered by Coming Out the Podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. For those of you who are new to the channel, please be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the content we provide here as I'm growing the combat sports area. And also, for those of you who are back again, I appreciate y'all. Keep supporting. Thank you so much as we grow the combat section of this podcast. Israel Adesanya and Nassourdine Imavov. That was the main event this past weekend in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And folks, I told y'all last week, is this the end of Izzy? And I said, it probably is the end of Israel Adesanya. Now, he might sit here and say he's going to come back and fight again, but I am telling you right now, it is probably not the best idea. Dana White, after the fight card, said that Izzy looked great, looked amazing. As good as we've seen him. I don't know what the hell Dana White was watching, because what I saw was a slow guy. He looked slow, and he won the round according to, I think it was 2 of the 3 cards. I believe he won it on 2 of the 3 cards. I mean, maybe he won it all 3. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I will tell you this: I thought Imavov would win, and he won emphatically. When he landed an uppercut on Adesanya in round 1 that rocked him, I knew the fight was over. I just knew it was over. And 30 seconds into round 2, Imavov cracks him, drops him, cracks him again, flattens him, and the fight gets stopped. I thought the fight could have been stopped on his second shot. So people might say, "Oh, it was a bad stoppage." Nah, not even Israel Adesanya thought it was a bad stoppage when he watched the video of himself in that fight, and he said, "Fair play to him." Here's the reality: Adesanya was a minus 162, and I said on my previous video, my preview, I said, "Is he done?" I said, if I'm betting on this fight, I'm taking Imavov at plus 136. That is a good value bet. And I thought he would win this fight. He was coming off some big wins. He's rolling in the right direction. And look, folks, Israel Adesanya is getting older. The things that he could do 5 years ago, where he could stand in front of you and just go, whoop, whoop, whoop. He can't do that stuff anymore. He can't do that stuff anymore. That is an age thing. This thing is, I'm trying to get focus back. That's an age deal, folks. It's an age deal. He's just gotten slower. He's still skilled as hell. But when you're so heavily reliant on your athletic ability, your speed, your quickness, and all those things, it's not going to end well for you, because if it just slows down by that much, that backward movement takes just a little bit longer and you get cracked with a nasty uppercut. And that, to me, set the tone of the fight. Regardless of Imavov won the round or not, that was the biggest shot of the round. And at that point, Imavov knew he could crack this man. And he did exactly that 30 seconds into round 2. Adesanya is now 1-4 in his last 5. He's lost 3 straight. And he says he might come. He says he'll be back. I'm not sitting here saying that they should force him into retirement, because you know what? They've allowed guys like Tony Ferguson to lose 8 straight fights. But I think Israel Adesanya has probably earned enough money that he doesn't need to do this shit anymore, because he's not going to beat anybody in the top 5. If he fought Robert Whittaker again, he'd probably lose. He would probably lose if he fought Robert Whittaker again. We already saw what Dricus du Plessis did to him. We saw how Sean Strickland dominated him. God, that was over almost 2 years ago now. Yeah, it's been over almost 2 years, a year and a half since that happened. We've seen it. God, it's probably almost 2 years. And now you got Strickland fighting for a rematch with Drew du Plessis on Saturday in Australia for the belt. Adesanya is nowhere near a title shot. And I would hope to God that one win would not get him back into the conversation, because you shouldn't be there if you've lost 3 straight fights. That said, I mean, whatever he decides to do, he decides to do. But Imavov has made himself a true contender in the division. He was ranked 5th coming into this fight. And I don't know what the rankings are. Let me see what the rankings are now for the division. He is now ranked 2nd behind Sean Strickland. He is now ranked 2nd. And his last loss was to Sean Strickland. He jumped 3 spots. He jumped past Khamzat Chimaev, obviously Adesanya, Whitaker. Somehow Adesanya is still ranked 4th. I think Adesanya would probably get destroyed if he fought Khamzat Chimaev. He would just take him down. I probably would have dropped. I mean, they're not going to drop him behind Whitaker because Whitaker lost to him, and Whitaker just had his jaw broken by Chimaev. Probably would pop Kyle Boraya in front of both of those guys. Imavov, his next fight's for the title, man. If Chimaev doesn't get the title shot, if Chimaev doesn't, here's the thing. Saturday is going to tell a big story, because if Sean Strickland wins, there's probably going to be a 3rd fight between these 2 guys. I just have a feeling. Even though I thought Strickland should have gotten an immediate rematch, because I thought he won the first fight with Duplessis, I think if he wins, they'll be more apt to give Duplessis an immediate rematch because they'll be 1-1. Maybe finally they'll fight in the U.S. because they fought in Canada and now Australia. Maybe they'll fight in the U.S. But if Duplessis wins, then I think Strickland Imavov is the next fight I think Imavov gets a rematch with Strickland. So that I think this Saturday will play a big part in what happens. And I think then if Strickland wins, you might see an Imavov Chimaev fight coming up, or maybe an Imavov versus Robert Whitaker fight. Who the hell knows? Either way, he's in prime position for a big fight in his next fight. So that's big for him. Co-main event, Michael Venom Page absolutely dominated Shara Magomedov. Oh, man. Shara Bullet, you got exposed, buddy, by a real striker. He finally faced a real athletic striker. I was shocked that Michael Venom Page was a plus 154 in this fight to a minus 200 by Magomedov. Michael Page is very hard to hit. He's awkward. He's quick, in and out, lots of motion, lots of movement. He dominated this fight. It wasn't the most entertaining fight, but he absolutely dominated the fight. And then I've seen reports that Magomedov might be retiring. I can't imagine that. Yeah, he's supposedly blind in one eye, and now he can't and that's why he can't fight in the U.S., which is utterly stupid, being that Michael Bisping fought blind in one eye for a number of times in the U.S. But I'd hate to see this guy go, but he was exposed, and he does not have the elite striking skills that people thought he had. Michael Venom Page is a level above him in terms of striking, and it got shown there on Saturday. What's next for MVP? Don't know. He's coming off of a loss against Ian Gary. He'd beaten Kevin Holland. I would tell you this: Ian Gary just lost to Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm tempted to say I wouldn't mind seeing these guys rematch, but that fight was so goddamn bad because Ian Gary wanted to wrestle fuck him for 3 rounds. That would be my only concern, because if Gary has the balls to stand with Michael Venom Page, he would lose. And that's really what it comes down to. Any other one? Let me see anybody else that I could think of for a fight for MVP. MVP is currently ranked. Where is he ranked? He's ranked 15th. I mean, you could have him. I mean, there's a lot of fights for MVP out there. A fun fight, Vicente Luque. I think he beats Luque. Carlos Prates. Stephen Thompson could be a fight. 2, karate, strikers, karate style, Muay Thai, lanky, long, could be one. I mean, Colby Covington could be a fight for Michael Venom Page. Although I think Colby Covington would take him to the ground. And So there are fights out there for MVP, but I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Gary again because I thought he won that. I thought he would have won that fight. He just kept top position. Gary really just went to wrestling. It was crazy watching that. Looking at any other fights in this, Sergey Pavlovich, that fight with Jairzinho Rosenstrike was utterly fucking brutal. I mean, my God, that was a bad fight to watch. I thought Pavlovich would knock out Rosenstrike. It went for a decision. It was a very unentertaining fight. Rosenstrike got cut after this fight. I'm a little surprised about that. He got cut. Pavlovich gets the win. What's next for Pavlovich? Maybe another rematch, a rematch with Volkov. Who knows? Said Nurmagomedov against Vinicius Oliveira. Vinicius Oliveira with the decision win. That was a really, really grinded out fight. Oliveira said he had a rib problem and it was very hard for him to breathe. He said he didn't want to pull out the fight though. Nurmagomedov in the first round, I thought was going to roll Oliveira over in that first round. The way it looked, he was whooping his ass. And then he just ran out of gas. I mean, he gassed the fuck out at the end of round one. He had nothing left in round two. And three, forget about it. It was donezo. That's a big win for Oliveira. So I'm very surprised when you see the name Nurmagomedov in a loss. But Oliveira really dominated those last two rounds in that fight. It wasn't the most entertaining fight, but he dominated those rounds. And then the opener of the card was Faraz Ziam over Mike Davis. Good fight, nothing great. And then I didn't actually watch any of the undercard, to be honest, because it was at 9 o'clock in the morning and I was still sleeping. So I did watch the main card, and I thought overall it was a nice card. And obviously looking forward to this weekend, UFC 312, Duplessis versus Strickland 2 in Sydney. And I will be talking about that on a separate video. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of these fights? What are your thoughts of Israel Adesanya and his future? Nassourdine Imavov and his future. What's next for him? Let's hear about it. Let's talk about it. Leave a comment, like the video, subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Appreciate y'all jumping on with me today. Combat Corner. Come on now.